So it would be much better if this talk is given either to high-level managers or to young people, researchers who hate bureaucracy and so on. Because both groups are here, I try to stay in the middle, and please really don't hesitate and ask me about anything you don't understand immediately. Okay? So, of course you do research because you like it. Your effort is driven by your curiosity, namely, but you probably know that there are also some money involved in the business. Typically, the money are coming from projects. This is one big part. We will not speak about projects today. And the other big portion of money is coming somehow from the government in what is called institutional way. Anyway, this amount is also big, almost and even bigger at the moment than money from projects, so you should be at least aware of it. Although you will not see it directly, but you may. And this money coming from government are somehow derived from the number of scientific results, also from the amount of teaching and so on. But let's speak now about scientific results. So there is another good reason you should have good scientific results, not only because you like it and because you want to become famous, but also because you will earn money this way. Perhaps not directly you personally, but usually if you have better results, somehow you get more money. It goes without saying. And the whole story about how to calculate quality of the institution in terms of quality of scientific results, how to evaluate it, and how to convert it to some billions of crowns is, of course, never-ending story. There are many discussions, and in the last 3 decades, the system completely changed several times. And we are now at the moment where it is changing completely and drastically again. As almost none of you is aware of the past system, which has actually just ended, I will introduce it very slowly, very briefly. But well, this is actually an announcement of the Czech government from the beginning of this year. The government decided to change everything. But this was the old or current government, and next month we may have a new government, so you know, maybe you should not be wasting time here. But the old methodology was called Kaffeemlejnek, coffee mill, because it was somehow based on a complete complex system where data were collected about every single paper, about the quality of the journal, measured typically by factor. The same, or even more complicated, it was for economic results, books, conference contributions, and so on. And then the huge amount of data was put into some machine, to some algorithm that was also complicated, and it calculated everything, and at the very end it resulted in some financial amount to be given to each institution. By the way, it goes to schools or that level institutions. The internal distribution of money is business of every particular school, but especially in the case of Czech Technical University, the overall government system was more or less used for internal distribution also. This fact, the CIIRC is as a new body, has no history, almost no history, and almost no money coming from that source so far. The more it is important, because the sooner you will have some results and the sooner they pass through the government evaluation, the better, because this money will come and they at least balance the project money. For example, in my department at the electrical engineering faculty, it's really balanced. The same amount comes from projects as from these sources. So at coffee mill, in principle, would work reasonably. Colleagues from liberal arts were less satisfied than we from technical sciences. But there was a bigger problem than the field of interest. The bigger problem was that such a system works only if people and institutions are fair and honest. As they are not, the system was somehow corrupted in many times. So okay, so there is no antenna. I don't have many slides. Vašek, don't bother with it.
I do.
So, the main drawback or the main criticism to that system was that even if the quality of the journals and the number of authors and these things were somehow taken into account, yet you could get good money for paper in Nature, for example, but you could get at least the same money if you have 100 papers in the most stupid journal published ever or something like that. So naturally this led to flood of papers. There were even some journals created artificially just for that purpose, because there was a simple calculation that one point in the Kaffenleineck cost, I don't know, 2,000 crowns or something like that. So this was just business.
Without it, it doesn't work.
Okay. Anyway, the authors of the old methodology were continuously improving it, and they improved and filled this hole, and the offenders immediately invented a new one, and so on. So that's how it was. But that's the general problem of everything in this republic, that even if the ideas are clear and honest, the people are not. I'm sure that it's not much different in other countries, but probably still it is a little different, let's say. So, the Kaffenleineck, after many years of criticism, was cancelled completely, and something new, which, because starting this year slowly, is called the methodology 17+. So there is a new methodology which will warm up slowly. So the plus means that in the coming 3 years, the system will be slowly changing to the new one. At that process, the new system will be modified and polished, and we hope that after 3 years, the finances will purely and fully come from that new system. In the intermediate period, each institution is getting about the same as in the last year, and so on, with only particle changes on the way. I think it's sufficient. So, I just explain you the warming up period. The new system is different. It is also based on scientometry, so papers are evaluated also, but in a different manner. The main difference is that they will not be counted or added, so the number of papers will no longer be important, while the quality of journals will be. This is the main difference, and I will tell you details later. Also, the other kinds of results will be somehow evaluated by experts, so a peer review will be made for all other kinds of of research, patents, applied research, applications. Also, it will be evaluated relevance and impact to the society and somehow the vision of each institution. You may be surprised, but probably not a single one Czech institution has any vision. The main vision, the most difficult one, is somehow to survive through the next year. I told Vašek that foreigners should not be present here. Even if they are, I try to be honest. And the strategy and conception, these all things will be evaluated, and so the scientometric analysis will be done by professional sociologists. There will be those peer reviews of the results and even visits of some panels to the institution and so on. But for this year and next years, not everything will work. Instead, it will somehow slowly each tool will be added on the way. We often hope that the new system will bring better financial security to the institutions, while I consider this the main drawback, because I think that the institutions at last should be somehow distinguished by quality. Some of them should be closed or at least less financed. In a political way, this is one of the goals. And the new system is still so complex that it not only evaluates every particular institution, but also the field. So we will know how good is cybernetics in Czech Republic when compared to the rest of the world, and so on. And it will also evaluate programs under which the grant agencies give projects. So I hope it will somehow evaluate that say, Catcher is more efficient in turning money into scientific results than Thatcher or vice versa. So, by the way, how much time do I have?
You told that the talk is not going to be very long. That's the only constraint.
Okay, so it's good to remind me. Okay, so I will skip the general implementation. So for you who are more aware, nothing will happen this year. We will get the same amount of money as in the last year. Exactly the same. Even if the results are supplied to the state database, they are no counted.
Which means for zero?
Pardon?
This is another story, don't open it here. I'll comment on it at the end.
I didn't understand.
The question was if for CIIRC it means zero. And I will comment on it at the end.
Okay. But in principle, historical results are evaluated. So if you have no history or no long history, it's a drawback for you. And the only difference could be that another 10% of money could be distributed according to new scheme. At least this was the idea of the old government. The new one probably will change nothing. So there will be some almost invisible impact to every university, and the universities are not ready at all to distribute it somehow among faculties and among departments. For the practical impacts, you will have to wait some years and then maybe none. But I think it's important for you to have another good reason to publish in a good journal, not only that more people will read the paper, but also somebody with more money, hopefully you personally also. So, what is going right now is that the bibliometric or scientometric analysis is being performed. Some standard measures are used from the famous Prague manual of OECD, for example, the division of sciences into groups, and then the division of groups into fields that are called FORD, field of research and development, and there is also something called detailed FORD, and detailed FORD is more or less the category in Web of Science. So it's that level. At the beginning, the evaluation will be made probably at the fourth level, which means electrical engineering is considered as one field. And say cybernetics probably is included in that field. And only later the analysis will be more precise. Okay. And I'm, by the way, the reason I'm talking to you right now is that I chair one of the panels. In that system, we will evaluate technical sciences and informatics in the whole Czech Republic. Also, this is the system of forwards and deforwards. Definitely, the level of fields is very, very high. Probably nothing as a beginning. This may be a good start. Anyway, this is standard system used also. And then the field is divided into detailed fields which more or less correspond to the WOS categories, as you know them probably, you may know them. Not exactly, but there is some conversion table ready. Okay, so this year 2 groups of results will be evaluated. The first one is called bibliometry viable. I'm not able to pronounce it even in Czech. So those results who are recorded at the Web of Science, meaning journal papers in journals that are registered by Web of Science, and also conference papers that are registered at Web of Science. Everything. And also journals registered by Scopus, which is another database less demanding than Web of Science. And everything else belongs to the second group, not Bibli, let's say, and this will go under peer review. As to the first group, I don't know how familiar you are with Web of Science, but typically there are journals are divided into fields, detailed fields categories, and based on the journal impact factor. I hope you know what is impact factor, and a very rich number of citations per paper in the journal, let's say. And the papers are somehow ordered, the journals are ordered by impact factors in every particular category, and then the percentiles, mainly quartiles, are calculated Q1 as the best quarter of the journals, and sometimes also G1, which is the best 10% of papers in a category. And this so far was in Government, it was based on the impact factor, and in Scopus they have something like impact factor also. And one of the minor changes is now that those impact factors are no longer used, and will be used another measure which is called article influence score, and AIS is okay. For those who know what is impact factor, then our AIS is something like impact factor with two main changes. The citations from inside of the same journal are not counted. So this is drawback for those journals who somehow push authors to refer to other papers in the journal. So this is one change, and another change is that also citing journals are somehow evaluated. So a citation in a good journal counts more than citation from another average journal. This is the big difference. So if you can, using Web of Science, you can plan, you can order in your category the journals by impact factor or by AIS, and you will see some little suspect journals go down when using AIS. It's not perfect, but it's definitely a better measure. And then if paper is published in a paper which is not registered in Web of Science, Scopus comes into game, and if it is registered at least in Scopus, which, as I told you, is less demanding, this team, then they have some index which is very similar to AIS. So this whole analysis will be performed by professionals. It doesn't work. And I have an example of a field of sociology which even I think that the story is more interesting than my talk. Okay, so I will skip that huge example, but for experts, let's say, I will tell you the result of the analysis of journal papers will be different in many senses. Always just the ratios will be given. For example, the distribution of Czech Republic papers authored from this country will be somehow distributed by those quartiles, Q1, Q2, Q3, and the distribution will be given and will be compared with the world distribution in that particular field. So it may be visible that, for example, Czech scientists publish in much better journals in cybernetics than the world scientists, let's say, or vice versa, which will be the case many times. In that sense, it's good to have more papers in good journals and less papers in poor journals. But not only this, that was clear even before. But now, if you have every additional paper you publish in a bad journal will not help you. On the contrary, it will somehow lower your evaluation. So it's better to publish in good journals or not to publish at all. Let's say. Of course, if you have just a practical advice. If you have a good material which is finally not accepted for a good journal, you will probably publish it anyway, and you shall do it. But you should not create great amount of papers in poor journals.
I have a question. For example, in our field, computer vision, most people push to publish on the top conferences.
You'll go to that.
Yeah, okay.
We are not speaking about. We are speaking here about the first group, which are journal papers from WOS and Scopus, and conference papers at conferences from WOS. If your conference is registered by WOS, which need not be the case because of business struggles between the two huge companies or something like that, then it belongs to the second group. Okay? So I think this is all correct. What I also can tell you. So there will be given for Czech Technical University some distribution of papers in almost no results better than C in the Czech Republic. I almost don't know.
I'm not sure. Who will pick the evaluation criterion? I mean, there is an organization will pick by all criteria by criterion 110.
Okay.
What does it mean?
Okay, yeah, this is my mistake. So, the organization picks those 10% of results, and to every single of them will choose between two kinds of evaluation, either by scientific progress or by social, industrial impact, economical impact, or social, something like that. I skip it because in the first year, this year, only the second criterion will be used, so only the impact will be evaluated. But the scale is quite tough in both criteria actually. So there is a global impact, regional impact, national impact, and no impact at all at the impact level, and on scientific level there will be breakthrough at international level, then good progress and average progress until low progress, let's say. And I must tell you, these for the university, these results already were selected and submitted, and there were really problems to collect them, because every faculty should offer 10% of their past results, then the faculty who is cheating more is in bigger troubles, which I think is a good sign for the new methodology. So that's about it. For example, I'm sure those who will evaluate the conference papers will also take into account the number of A's in the conference. If it's the government, you have 3A, 2A conferences in informatics. I don't know how are conferences in informatics evaluated. I think there is some Australian system. Or even if not, the evaluator is supposed to understand the matter, so he should know whether it's a good conference and good result. What will be evaluated this year are only results of the last year, which means, of course, that the evaluation will be based on somehow on projection. It cannot take into account real impact. If you evaluate something, it is better if you do it 10 years after, because you see if this US patent resulted in some product or income or not. If you don't have that time delay, then you must just hope you are right. So that's I think it. For Czech-speaking people, this is the exact definition of the rating. Even I don't understand it so much, so I will not translate it. I'm afraid that fair evaluation of all results should be at best 3, but this of course would be politically impossible. So what happens? Okay, so just my personal view, which may be interesting for more experienced people among you. I think the pros of the new methodology is definitely the comparison with the world. Immediately there was an objection why we are going to compare us with the world, why we should not be compared with OECD countries or European countries or American countries. The reason is that the social sciences, like bohemistic or something, or liberal arts, want to be evaluated compared to world and not to any particular English-speaking country, for example. They don't like it. Then the good news is that by collecting many bad results, you get nothing. It's even worse for you. On the other hand, the scheme involves people and depends on your attitude whether you think this is correct or not, or honest or not. I think simple cheating will no longer be possible, but advanced cheating at the higher political level will be much easier by the way. Because I really cannot imagine what will happen if, based on this relatively good and fair evaluation, the decision will be that regional university is for several years in the category F and they should close it or stop financing. This probably is not possible. So this is the weak point of this methodology. And also good is that the whole university will get one rating. A, B, C, D university. The whole university. Because Harvard is definitely a university in all the fields, while I don't know. And now contrast. The methodology is not yet ready. There are still 3 years to go. We surely know what will happen this year, and it will be changed, which is the good news, but also bad news, depending on how honest you are. The cheating will not be possible at the beginning. Will not help you to have. I know a professor from a Czech University who has 80 journal papers per year. So this kind of cheating will not help, quite the opposite. On the other hand, if at the resulting government or rectors level will be clear how poor is the university, what will happen, I cannot imagine. Then, the whole system is, the bottleneck is the choice of people actually. If there are good and fair evaluators, all of them from abroad preferably, it may be good. But even if you are selecting reviewers from abroad, it's good even if the selecting person is independent. Because by selecting right American reviewers, I can arrange for you any evaluation I want, if I will do it. Also, now we have a database of people who offer themselves as evaluators, and the database is almost empty. Nobody is interested. It's paid, but just for you to know, for single evaluation they offered, I think, 3,000 crowns. So you cannot be rich, but if you are naive and honest young person, you should enroll yourself into the evaluation program at least to evaluate something. As most of the results will be good, the evaluation job will be quite tough and boring. Okay, and then let's keep influences like that. We now will have soon a new government which will do everything in the opposite way as the other one, and then again. But then the main drawback is again that the university gets one rating. Remember, I consider this the pro and the contra at the same time, because an unfortunate situation in all Czech schools is that they are very different inside. Even the faculties are very different. Even the departments usually are quite different. So what does it mean? Shall Czech Tech be A? Of course there are groups A. Or shall it be F? Of course there are groups F. I don't know. So these are pros and cons of the and that's about my position right now. And it will be even worse after I see the results. Okay, so that's it. Please ask your questions. I think mostly you should forget about everything I said and do your job.
Okay, so My impression is that accountability of the system is much poorer than the previous one, because with the previous system, anybody, for example, you were a good example, was able to go through the results of, let's say, competing universities and point out that this result presented here is not classified properly in the scheme of things. And technical discussion can follow. But here my impression is that there will be some panel will group together, say something, and it will say B, and there will be no possibility to complain or to say.
Well, it need not be that bad. I know nothing about the publicity of the final results. I don't know if anything will be made public or not. Definitely, inside of universities, it will be public. So, for example, the full evaluation of Czech Tech will be given to the rector and to the deans, and they can see it. So those people who will see, they will see that this particular result was rated by A and can question it or not. So it will be possible. And whether it will be really public for everybody, I don't know. Probably not. But I think this is the university. Universities will not want to publicize the results of the evaluation. That was one thing. But to make it clear, the RIF, the database, will keep going. So every single result will be put there and will be visible, so you still can learn almost anything about the particular result. But you don't know whether it was selected by the university to go to the competition. This you don't know. But when you will learn this at your university, you will be able probably to check how it was evaluated. At the panel level, I'm afraid we even don't have the right to change the evaluator's rating, but we can definitely comment it, and we can comment everything. Also, the bibliometric analysis will be done by professionals. You will see we can comment it. And now it depends on every particular panelist and the panel chair whether he or she will be honest or not. So more people is involved, definitely. Is it better or not? It was the old objection against coffee mill that no people are involved. Finally, it appeared this was not true. Even I didn't know that. Okay, so
I will try to rephrase my previous question. Did anything change, or can we expect anything to be changed with respect to how the conferences are evaluated compared to the journals? Like how much credit is given for publishing on conference?
Yes, exactly. If your conference is listed in Web of Science, that will be handled exactly like the paper. I don't know, but they claim there is something like impact factor of a conference.
Okay.
But if the conference is not there, it will belong to the second group. So if the university picks your paper as ready for the evaluation, the evaluators see it and you will see it's a perfect conference, best conference, and good result, so it will get A.
Okay, so
It's even better. But again, the distribution will be important. Whether for the institution it has more A's in this category than E's, F's, and so on.
So in other words, we are saying that if it falls to the first category, so let's say our conferences are in Web of Science. Okay, they are. So
then it will be somehow evaluated.
Then it will be on the same level as a journal paper.
Yes, but I don't know. I don't know whether a conference has AIS or impact factor. I doubt, but it will be treated the same way as journal paper.
Okay.
If I do it, I will again say you have more papers at good conferences than on poor conferences.
Mm-hmm.
So that single paper will mean nothing but the number of them and their distribution.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you present only at top conferences, but your colleague only in poor conferences, this is somehow balanced and you gain nothing. Other questions?
I actually have more of a basic question. Actually, what is this money used for?
institutional knowledge? You talked about bonuses for people?
Now they go to the faculties, then to the departments, to the institute. And how is it in Czech? I don't know. Okay. But at the moment they are not in Czech.
Which we survive.
But they may come, something may come next year. So I cannot answer the question because I don't know. But in my department, it goes to every single group, and in that group, the head of the group can decide what to do. Definitely, they are finally spent by the people in that group.
These are those things to do with salaries and basic salaries. These are all only bonuses?
It depends on every particular unit. We use it as some premium, for example. Part of it the person will get by premium. But actually, here it will be very difficult to distinguish different persons. Even if for a group or for department, what you get the rating for the whole group, and you get a distribution. So then the boss will decide who will get how much and so on. So maybe the good question should be, it will not be as it is now, and the money will not drop directly to the author, because there will not be that kind of information.
My question is, what's the granularity of the group? Is the lowest level which will be taken?
At the moment, the granularity is university. What we do at the government level, we evaluate universities. Nothing below. Then the university, I expect, Czech Tech will get A or B or C or D, I don't know. And that is a business of the rector, what he will do with it then. Probably they will have to perform the same kind of evaluation inside. Or to use some internal information from the higher level evaluation, which will not be public.
Are we finished?
Maybe I have two questions. One is the reviewers will be international or Czech or mixed?
They will be selected from the list of those who applied, who offered themselves. At the moment, in my list, there are both foreigners, but the vast majority are Czechs. But this is nobody's fault. Maybe the right foreigners were not asked or offered. By the way, this is done by Josef Sutka. Personally, this selection of the people.
And the second question is, if the
Josef
university...
Sutka is a professor at West Bohemian University in Pilsen, who has been a close collaborator of us for years.
The second question is if the university will be provided with all the reviews or they will be only an official statement.
No idea. But there should be some negotiation, ministry, university, and the panel, and probably it will be provided by many things, but just for you to understand the business, they will not be provided by everything, because every single piece of information, every single bit you provide to the evaluated institution will finally be questioned, or can be questioned, can go to court. So the evaluators try to say nothing more than they must. So there is that contradiction also.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, maybe it's the first question that should be asked. Is it just about the distribution of the money, or is it like shaping of the research?
Yeah, that will be definitely both.
Yeah, but
I actually doubt. You can be sure that the universities well rated will announce it publicly. They will become more famous, and they will shape, hopefully, the research. But how they will shape the research will depend on the financial influence.
Yeah,
if it will be nothing, then they change nothing.
Okay, so it's back to the universities. The state will just give the money somehow, and it will be worse than it is now.
Definitely, this will be some sort of feedback which was not provided before. Definitely, the government is not going to change anything on the universities. They are scared. The politicians are scared of academicians. Academicians, when striking and demonstrating, has a devastating power as it appeared before, which is the main break for development of Czech science. The academicians, not the politics. That's my personal point of view.
If there are no more questions to the presentation to the new system, so I'll try to briefly summarize what is the situation at the university right now, or it has been, and what is the situation of CIIRC with respect to this money. So the old system, is working how many, 10 years already, in fact?
More, even more.
Yeah. And it was changing over time. Yeah? So it was trying to fix the defects which appeared on the way. And when it was almost okay, so it was abandoned. Interestingly, the big influence into it was from the Academy of Sciences, who at the beginning initiated it, because they didn't get the chunk of money they expected from the whole fund. It's very simplified, but it's one of the reasons why it was. So now we'll talk about what was the influence to the universities itself. The money by the government was given to the institution, which means university in our case, or the Institute of the Academy of Sciences. And then it was a decision of that institution how to divide the money. In many cases, and in the case of the Czech Technical University, it was divided to the faculties and institutes using the same formula, how the money came to the institution, because it was possible, the organism was known, so it was possible to calculate it inside it. The input was the RIV database. Yeah, the system was the same, and it was how it was distributed to individual part of the university. Then the individual faculty or institute could have also a little different system. So for instance, the Faculty of Electrical Engineering, where I spent most of my time, had a little different system. Not much, but a little different system, which for instance took into account citations. So the money which came were divided a little differently. Then it came to the department, and every researcher could see in the information system what chunk of money he contributed to. Yeah? And there was kind of expectation that everyone gets what he contributed to. Yeah? And which was in most cases happening. Different departments different, but in most cases it was happening. So at the end of the Department of Cybernetics, when I was there, this was basically divided to the groups according to the money, and on the boss level there was nothing left. So the boss didn't have any influence to say what the department is going to do in the future, to invest some money, yeah? Which in my opinion is a mistake. And it created the granular division of the groups. The groups disappeared because it ended up in the individual. Yeah? Which in some cases is good if the group leader or head of the department has somehow the possibility to financially to influence the development. But different people have different opinions. And in the case of Department of Cybernetics, it was an important part of the money, this institutional money, and it was very much appreciated by theoreticians, and which is good. People who are doing theory, they don't have money from industry, so they got enough money to live from, yeah, and develop, which was good. And there were, if there are theoreticians at the place, it's fine. From your overhead, which is say 20%, you pay all admin people and people like that, yeah, and we don't have money for it. So we have to do various tricks how to do it. One project supports the another project and so on. To make a long story short, this kind of controversy that we are not getting the money ended up in the big dispute, which basically was one of the reasons why the budget of the university was approved only in the Senate meeting in November now. It was extraordinary Senate meeting in November which approved that. And part of it was also a vote of how the money left at the electrical engineering for the result of the people who came from there is. And the Senate voted this 19 members for, that half of that money should remain at the electrical engineering and half of it should come here, which amounts about 3 million Czech crowns. Yeah? And there we have a new rector who undermined that. There are people who said this is change of the budget which needs 2/3 of votes, which would be 23 people, not only 19. The Dean of Electrical Engineering said, well, even if you order it to me, I'm going to ask my own faculty senate for approval of it, yeah, and so on. So this money is still not coming to us very soon. Yeah? We shall see how it is. So for us, the new system is an important one, because now the university will get the same amount of money. We will need to use the internal political influence within the university to get some part of it, yeah? Which so far we didn't succeed in that, but maybe in the future we would. And this might get us another money which is already money which we create as the institution. Yeah? And this money is extremely important to us. Is it understood? Questions to that?
Yeah. The 3 million it was per month or per year?
Total sum, it's not a big sum.
For 2018, is it clear that this system will be applied for Czech?
It is, because this should be, this is the government resolution, and it says for 2017 the money were already given somehow. For, if I'm correct, for 2018 the same amount of money which the institution got previous year will be given to it, not counted at all, so the same. And in addition, there will be this up to 10% of that money calculated from anything. So no institution is going to lose, and some of them can get a little more and a little less. Yeah? So it's our internal political thing, internal policy, how we get from the chunk which comes to university the amount for us. This year that amount was close to 700 million Czech crown, yeah? Which is about 30 million euro. Yeah. Understood? Okay. More questions to that? So now we as an institute, we as a CIIRC, we have to take measures to have this some running money. Yeah? One of our potential source of this money is our teaching. So what our director did generously in the past with the teaching, he said all the money which are gained for teaching are given to the person who is teaching. Yeah? And this is going to change now, because the CIIRC needs this money. Yeah? And not only we are teaching as part of our job and so on. So and the agreement is already made with the Department of Cybernetics, where the majority of people teach. It's about 30 people from CIIRC are participating in teaching at the Department of Cybernetics and Electrical Engineering. So the all money will come to the CIIRC, and then 10% of it will remain at CIIRC, and the 90% of that money, which is the standard overhead. From every money we give is the 10% which comes for the CIIRC overhead for its running cost. And the 90% will come to the financially independent units, which is in most cases this is a department. And for instance, in my department we have one group which is financially self-standing, which is the Libor Přeučil's intelligent and mobile robotics. So they will get what comes from their teachers to them, and they will have to distribute it with the head will have to distribute it with the recommendation from the boss that he gives more than half of this money to the person, and on the rest he decides. So if you like to give it all to the person, it's possible, or if he likes to collect some kind of institutional money for whatever expenses he needs, he might do it. And it's a decision of this boss. So this is something what is not implemented, what was already discussed, and what is very highly likely going to come. And I would like to ask you, teachers, to support it, because it's important for financial stability of the groups. Yeah? Because then the groups can pay their own expenses, which is very hard at the moment. So this was how the money for research comes and what will happen. Yeah? And here is how the money for teaching comes. And that's it. Questions? If not, Olga?
I would recommend to explain the main reason for this is not only the money to the groups, but the fact that we need to have academic staff. And this is the way how we will get academic staff, and in this way we will be able to influence the way how the money on the people level will be distributed. And when you have started talking about the problem of the division of money, you should explain this one.
Yeah, Olga, that's correct. Yeah. So that's the, at this university we have the status of the person if she or he is an academic person, which is a little fuzzy concept at all. I don't think it's well designed by the legislation, but it's like it is. And if a person is an academic person, it means he is doing active research and she or he is contributing to teaching. Yeah? And this can happen, this can be conducted only if the institution per se participates in teaching. So for instance, a specific case of Michal Vavrečka. He quitted his job at the Department of Cybernetics and went to a company. Yeah? Then he didn't like the company so much and he wanted to come back to CIIRC. So he was an academic person at the Faculty of Electrical Engineering. While leaving it to the company, he lost the status. Now he's at CIIRC and he doesn't have it. And so far it was not possible to promote him to that level of academic employee because we were not participating in teaching officially. Yeah? By this arrangement, as an institution are teaching for someone, we can again, promote the people to that academic staff. Is it so important to be an academic employee? It actually doesn't change much. The big advantage for the institution is that people can vote in the Senate member elections. So which means we are getting more and more influence in the university politics. Even I'm representing now the Senate for there are 3 employees who are representing the non-faculty units. So the academic persons there, yeah, and there are now 6 institutes. Yes, I thank you very much for your testimony. Okay, so this was maybe, thank you for the recommendation. No more questions? Have a good lunch. Thank you for coming.